everyone, it's Kayla and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. Today we are building the fourth house in this Willow Creek neighborhood using base game only. And if you haven't seen the other three builds, make sure to go check them out. I am trying to make a neighborhood that looks like it was built by the same contractor, so they have very similar looks, and they also are using the same windows, same landscaping, same roof shingles, things like that. They vary in color and of course the shape. So today we are on the Bargain Bend lot, and I made a house for, in at least my save file, 2 parents and 2 twin toddlers. So I decided to make this a 2-bed, 1-bath house. It could be a 3-bed, but I converted one of the rooms into a playroom. So technically it could be a 3-bed, 1-bath house. And I did not fill the entire lot up with this house. I tried a few times to build on this lot, and anytime that I did do a super long or super wide house that filled up the lot, it felt really awkward and I could not get the floor plan the way that I wanted. So I instead left some space in the front yard, and I also made somewhat of a side yard that extends from the backyard. This house is the shutters are red in this house, so we are definitely branching out with colors now. I really love these windows because the window panes or the inside of the windows are white. They don't turn whichever color the shutters are. It's not my favorite when the shutters are blue and then the window panes are also blue, or so on or so forth, because then it really influences how the inside of your build looks, because you can see the color from the inside. So I was happy to find that these windows I could add some color without ruining my vibe. So as you can see, the shape of the house has come together now. We used the same brick. I decided to do the siding. It's sort of like a creamy beige color, which I felt looked really nice and cozy with the red shutters. So now we're going to work on the floor plan, and the floor plan honestly did come together pretty easily compared to some of my other houses. I knew that I wanted one side to have the living spaces and the other side to have the resting spaces, the bedrooms. So I made sure that I had enough room for a kitchen, dining area, and living room. And then I was trying to decide, do I want there only to be 2 bedrooms, or do I want another flex space? So I went ahead and added the flex space to the front of the build. And now we are moving on to the kitchen. I'm using my favorite base game cabinets. This is a swatch I don't use very often though. I thought since the outside looked nice and warm, maybe we try to warm up the interior. So we're using this sort of orangey wood for the swatch, and then you'll see later I use some wooden planks on the floor that also have that orangey tone. Again, nothing that I would gravitate towards, but I feel like I made it work with combining the orangey tones with blue. I think that they are supposed to be contrasting colors or complementary colors. I can't remember. I am not very well versed in my color theory, but it worked out really nicely in this build. So as you can see, I am adding some windows after the fact. I like to do the front windows first and then do my floor plan and add windows in later. This is the best way for me because otherwise I feel super constrained with what my floor plan can be, so this gives me a little bit more flexibility. I'm also using this base game table and chairs that came with an update a while ago, made by, I believe, a CC creator. I just cannot remember who. And here is where I start to sort of decide what the color theme is going to be. I have that rug that I sized down quite a few times with the orange and blue swatches, and I found this super cute tile swatch in another one of my favorite base game updates, and that is when I decided that orange and blue would look great together. So we're just finishing cluttering up the kitchen a little bit. I did put a coffee maker. I assume the parents really enjoy their coffee after taking care of twin toddlers. And then just minimal clutter over here in the corner. I wanted to make sure that there was still a free available countertop for your Sims to use when it comes to cooking. And I do also have a dishwasher. And then on the side of this sort of pantry area, I just put some pots and pans and some aprons. I don't know why that word was escaping me, but... And then I decided to use these beautiful, also my favorite base game, curtains in the blue shade. And I kept this house super minimal. I know I've mentioned a few times I just prefer my own real life house to be minimalistic, and that really translates when I'm building a Sims build. But I just love the way it looks. And I also think that if you were to download this, it makes it easier for you to add your own sort of character and personality. So that is kind of my excuse for being okay with minimal clutter. And to be fair, we are using only the base game, so I've been using the same things for the last 4 builds now. I am getting a little tired of it, to be honest. But anyways, moving on to the entryway. It is quite a large entryway, so I made sure to clutter it up with an entry table and a mirror and just some decor here or there. I also put the alarm and the coat rack. I think that that coat rack is one of my most used clutter items in this game. And then I add a plant and some gallery wall photos that look like they could be family photos. Now we're moving into the toddler's room, and I had so much fun doing this room. I wanted to use a floral wallpaper. I've been trying to make it work for so long, and I think I finally made it work in this build. I also want to mention that this room, it's very simple. It's very basic. There's really no toys. That is because I went all out in the playroom. I feel like this room is just for naps and going to bed. And that's it. So it is super boring in here, but I think it's really cute. So I am deciding to change up the layout a little bit. I put the beds on the left of the room so that I could put a dresser with a changing table. I know that the toddlers may or may not be potty trained, but this could also have just been left over from when they were infants, so I thought it made sense, and it allowed me to also bring in more of those purple hues in the wallpaper. And then you'll see I'm searching for forever. This clutter item with the diapers and things, I always forget where to find it, but I finally did find it. We also have a cute little critters basket that I think is probably just their version of a laundry hamper. And then I started to add very minimal decoration. So I took these rounded end tables and I connected them together. I have seen another Simmer do this before. I want to say it was Miss Scrippy, so I did not come up with that myself. But then here I'm just trying to decide what am I going for when it comes to the decor in this room. So I decided to keep it, like I said, super minimal, but also dreamy. I thought that these bunnies jumping was super cute. I love how, deep the colors are in this room. It really has a cozy vibe. And then I just put a little shelf up here with a lamp. I figured maybe the parents don't want anything on the end tables because they are toddlers. They'll get into everything, including light bulbs. So I did leave the little end tables here empty. Like I said, I have all of the toys and all of those things in the playroom, and I'm sure that the toddlers probably bring them all over the house, but for the sake of this build, I decided to keep it empty. I also am realizing that I did not film me moving the door. So this door right now, it's in, or I should say the bed is in the way of the door. That is not how it will be on the gallery. If you are interested in downloading this build, my gallery ID is KaylaAshleySims, and you can find any of my builds on there. Sometimes though I do forget, and you have to remind me. I'm trying to get better at that. But now we're moving on to the parents' room, and this wallpaper, again, one of my favorites from the base game now. I've used it in quite a few of my last base game only builds. I just think it's so cute, and I brought the blue in this room with that blue colored wallpaper, and then I kept it really, really simple in here as well. We basically only have a bed and a dresser. It's nothing crazy. Honestly, I love when my rooms have so many windows that the curtains take up so much wall space, because especially for a base game build, cluttering can be kind of difficult. But I did add a little bit of clutter to the dresser over here. Nothing too crazy, just some perfume and clothes and things like that. And now we are going to move on to the bathroom. I do decide to add a rug there, but moving on to the bathroom, I am just using the same wallpaper that I used in the kitchen, and I thought about possibly doing both a shower and a tub, but I decided to do the combo shower and tub. I also make sure to add 2 toddler potties because we do have twin toddlers in this house, and I kind of moved them over to the corner, and I create a makeshift vanity using the same counters that I have in the kitchen. And I kept this also super simple. I did not go overboard, at least in my mind, with clutter. So really we just have some soaps and lotions on top of the countertops. We have some of, maybe dad's cologne or whoever's cologne. We have soap and toothbrushes. Nothing crazy. I also made sure to add some towels and some curtains, and that is really it for the decoration in here. I do add some robes, so I feel like those help fill in the space, but it is pretty basic in here, like I said. Now, moving on to the fun room of the house. So we are doing the playroom. Like I said in the beginning, this could be used as sort of a flex space. So if you don't want it to be a playroom, it can be another bedroom. Maybe when the twins get older, they decide they don't want to share rooms anymore. Who knows? But I went all out with the colors in here. I just said every color in the rainbow will look great in here. So we've got a bookshelf, and then I have those cubbies. Those cubbies are so cute. It's technically a dresser, but I think that it works so well as pretending like it's toy storage. I feel like it's pretty common for parents to have cubicles in playrooms to help store the toys because kids can easily throw their toys in them. So we used that dresser as some toy storage. I have a toy box, a dollhouse, plenty of toys to play around with. But that is it for the interior, and now we are going to go on to the backyard. And like I said before, I kind of extended the backyard a little bit because there was so much empty space. So at first it was just going to be this sort of small outdoor area, but then I remembered that we have a jungle gym in the base game and I had not used it yet, and maybe this family has a jungle gym for their twins. So I will go ahead and expand the backyard so that I can fit the jungle gym. The base game jungle gyms are pretty limited. We've got mostly pirate themed ones, but that's all right. So now we're extending the patio as well, and I make sure to have enough space for a few gardening beds. And like I said, we've got this jungle gym over here, which I kind of just outlined with sand terrain paint, and then added some grass terrain paint as well. We have a grill, we have a seating area, and now we're gonna go ahead onto the front and we're gonna landscape, which this landscaping looks exactly the same as every single house. The coloring of the bushes is just red instead of any of the other colors. So I use these hedgerow bushes, I size them down quite a bit and line the house. I also use the low-lying flowers to sort of outline all of the plant area. These bulbous bushes are some of my favorites in the debug, and then here we go with the flowers. And I also used these, I don't know what you call those plants, but I used those in all of my landscaping to help add a little bit of elevation, just have some different heights as far as the plants go. So I really don't have any rhyme or reason to this. I kind of just stuck to those two plants, the bushes and the flowers, and I love these rocks. These are in Live Edit. So if you don't know yet, there are plants hidden in a menu called the Live Edit Objects menu, and this allows you to use any of the plants that you see in the surrounding world, and I just love them. The coloring is better with them. There's different varieties of plants, and so you can either type the cheat into the cheat bar, or you can do what I do and download the Twisted Mexi Better Build By mod. It is not only great for being able to use live edit objects or debug objects, but it organizes your catalog and it allows you to copy and paste live edit and debug objects, which is not usually the case. So I am a huge fan of the mod. I also used to use the tool mod a lot, but for some reason it's been breaking a lot in my game, and no matter how many times I uninstall and reinstall or repair my game, it doesn't work. So I've just been doing the best with the hands I've been dealt. And now we're gonna add some flower boxes, of course, with red flowers, and I also added a cute little tree on the patio. It had a nice swatch with a red planter pot. But yes, nothing too crazy out here. I also decided to add a bird bath to fill in some space. I think that it actually came out really cute. And then you'll see that I am going to add more landscaping to the back, just basically copying and pasting. I did line the rest of the house as well. And the windows look a little odd on the side of the house because of the floor plan. I decided to landscape around where the windows are to sort of take your attention away from that. So I used a tall tree and a couple of bushes, and yeah, I just copied and pasted. The other important thing to do is use terrain paint when it comes to gardening to make it look a little bit better. However, there is a bug where terrain paint will delete itself, so I always wait until the end, or at least I try to. That way I never have to redo it. I've only had that happen to me once, so hopefully I don't experience that again anytime soon. But anyways, we are just finishing up on this build now. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and look at my channel for the other neighborhood houses. And thank you all so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!